topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Triversity Talk. I am your host or hostess with the mostest or the most, Wendy Stewart, and I'm happy to see you always on Wednesday, hump day, right? Doesn't this all get us through the week, especially with this crazy cold weather that we're having right now? So I wanted to just fill everybody in that knows about Triversity, the Pride Center in Milford, Pennsylvania. We are going to be doing a 6-week workshop. It's called I Am What I Am, and we are looking for adults and young adults and teens to participate. It's going to involve both writing and painting, whichever area you choose. And we're going to have a presentation at the end. And it's about really finding your own truth. I can give you more details about it if you jump on to our Facebook page, Triversity, the Pride Center on Facebook, or triversitycenter.org on the computer. That sounds so ridiculous. on the internet. So please do that. And just a couple of words from me. This has been a bit of a tumultuous couple of days for people, and I'll just let it go at that. And I'll let you know that Triversity, the Pride Center, is here for you. All right. We have open hours. We have people that are ready to talk. We do have support groups. So I just want everybody to remember we have a center and you can drop in Milford, Pennsylvania. You can also, we have a community board. If you're not in the Milford area, feel free to just write in. We get back to people. If you have questions about things, we are there for you. And we just want you to know more than ever, please reach out if you need a helping hand. Thank you. So the guest we have on tonight, I had the pleasure of being in a show with this person. And I don't know how they slipped through my gaydar because I know so much done in the drag scene. And yet this person was amazing. And then, of course, I go, I do the Google and the download and all of that. And I could not believe the amount of work that they've done. Our guest tonight is a singer, an actor, a dancer, a designer, a composer, a poet, and honest to God, does all 150%. It's on such a high level. You wonder how so much talent could be in one human being. The stellar performance background. Just go on Google. You can Google. I'm a big user of Google. I was telling them my thumb hurt by the time I was done. So I just want to say, what's the secret to their success? And has it been a cakewalk? And you'll find out why I'm asking that question later. Please welcome Jada Valenciaga.
Hi.
Hello there, honey. How are you?
How are you, Wendy?
So, it's so nice to see you always. I'm happy to have you on here virtually. As you probably figure out, I'm really an in-person girl.
Yes.
You're an in-person. Right. I saw you feed off of that audience. We met at 50 Shades of Gay. That was my first time. I don't, how did you slip through my fingers? This is bothering the heck out of me.
I don't know, because it'll be 15 years in drag come this October.
Right. And let's just say in 45 years, I make it my point to know everybody, even the new kids all on the block. And there have been so many of them. I make it my point. I go to the Glam Awards every year. I've been up for a Glam Award the last couple of years. I don't know how you got through my fingers. It's just bothering the heck out of me. And
Well,
but
we've got the present and the future. So
there you go. And you know what? This was totally meant to be. So I was excited to get you as a guest because your performance in 50 Shades of Gay, it's a great show. Ikevelli
it's so
produces
much
it.
fun.
Right. It's fun. We have a great time. We have wonderful performances, but it was like every single time you knocked it out of the ballpark, I'm like, oh, she really sings. Not that there's
Right.
anything wrong with lip syncing. And a lot of people in the drag community sing, but you really sing. I mean, that's a voice and a half. And then you know, every time you came out, athletic choreography, amazing dance moves. Like nobody really has that whole kind of package. And it was
Thank you.
quite frankly, no, but it's true. You were really, the audience went wild over you, as I'm sure you're totally used to. So like, will you share with us how this all happened?
Well, I'm technically trained. I went to school for musical theater. It's always been my passion. And
Where did you go? What school did you go to?
I went to the American Musical Dramatic Academy. I went to AMDA.
Oh, Dorothy Bishop teaches voiceover there. So, right. So oh my God, you're an AMDA. Okay, so I think I knew that, and that explains a lot of it because only the creme de la creme get in there.
Well, I personally feel about AMDA that much like a lot of things in life, you get out of it what you put into it.
Right.
And coming from the Midwest, I came from Kansas City, Missouri.
I saw that.
It wasn't really, there's like a thriving theater community there now. It's starting to grow more. But when I was there wasn't that. So my only option, also, it's red state. I'm not trying to stay there.
I can understand that it wasn't a comfort zone for
I had to get out of there. But also I was like, New York City is where I need to be to do what I know I need to do.
There were no like summer production. A lot of people that come on the show really come from these towns. A lot of the heavy drag artists come from these towns that you have never even heard of. And I'm like, but how did you do theater there? But you're saying like there wasn't anything in Kansas City.
No, we had like the Coterie Theater. We had like Starlight Theater. There were little pockets of
pockets.
But it was very.
You can say it.
I'm trying to find it. Elitist.
Yeah, I got it.
They would hire their friends,
right,
more than look for genuine good outside talent.
Right.
And so you saw the same 5 people in the same shows.
So it's very cliquey.
It's very cliquey.
Very cliquey.
So I didn't really do it a lot. Well, actually, I didn't really get a chance to do it a lot. I think maybe in my time in Missouri did one summer show.
That is
I left.
To me because when I look at you, I know you were one of those kids that like came out.
I was in every single theater production from kindergarten to high school.
Right.
If there was a show happening, I was in it.
And I'm sure as a young kid, your family already, you were the ham at 2 years old.
Oh, absolutely. Like well, they thought I was going to play sports, ironically, because I love playing t-ball. And they're like, oh, he's going to transfer into baseball. And then one game I was doing pirouettes in the outfield and they said, we got to take him out. So they took me out of that and they promptly put me into karate. So
you know what? Listen, I got to hand it to your family. They were trying,
They tried. I said, they're like, oh my God, he likes sports. Thank God. Nope. He's literally out in the outfield, kicking up dust and doing pirouettes. Like,
yeah, right. I hear you. Did you do gymnastics as a kid?
I didn't. The only
That's
reason
interesting to me because in your own dance performance, it's very athletic. The
only reason I'm flexible like that is because when my parents put me in karate, karate requires you to do a lot of stretching. So there would be days where I would walk around the house with ankle weights on to strengthen the power in my legs and like get my kicks back together. So all of that athleticism came from me doing came from me doing, karate, came from me doing all of the shows. I also was in show choir and all of the varsity choirs and everything in school. So that was the thing that like started training me to do all of the stuff that I do now.
The real thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It trained me to do the real thing.
So you knew you were on your way out of Kansas City, Missouri as soon as you could.
Oh yeah. It's actually, my theater teacher, and it kind of solidified it because we took our first New York City trip when I was in high school. And I was like, I have to go on this trip. I have to go on this trip. And one thing about my theater teacher is she talked about this thing called finding your heartbeat, where you have to go where your heart aligns with the pulse of the city.
Yeah.
And it was such a beautiful message. And I didn't really get it at the time because, high schoolers, whatever. I hit New York City, and the moment that I stepped off that plane and into the city, it was the hardest thing that I had to do to leave. And I was a junior in high school at the time. And I didn't really get this whole heartbeat thing. But as I got older and I started living here, I said, I get it. New York City is my heartbeat. It matches the tone of which I live my life.
Wow.
And it's coming from where I came. It was so understandable. And my mom's like, Missouri has always been so slow paced for you.
Oh, great. Thank God you have an understanding mother. No, that's like.
Oh, she came to her first gay pride event 2 years ago. And we've made it a
family holiday.
We've made it a tradition now because the first time during Pride, I do this thing called Pride Production Month with my show that I have called Curtains Up.
Curtains Up, right.
And she decided one day that she wanted to come during Gay Pride Month. And that is a big deal for a non-binary, trans femme, two-spirit person to have an accepting mother, not only have an accepting mother, but want to come into your space and witness, because she's always, since I'm 36 years old, that woman has been to probably almost every single performance that I've been to.
No, it's very obvious that, like, as complex as you are in terms of gender identity, she doesn't question any of that. You are who you are. I just wish everybody were like that. I totally get it. And that's
that I'm one of the blessed ones. Yeah. I am one of the blessed ones.
You are one of the blessed ones.
And her showing up that first Pride, first of all, it broke me on stage because she came up on stage and she talked on the microphone. And the thing about my mom is you've met my personality. My mother is who I got my person. We genuinely love people. It's so funny. She adopted at least 3 or 4 other kids that night.
She's got all these surrogate kids from that trip up here.
Yeah, she became like a therapist that night because everybody saw how I act and sees how I act and how much I love on people. So they just started coming down to sit by her and like talk to her. And I go, I don't know you. Get away from my mother. Go to Silver and walk it out here. Right. She's like,
but that, first of all, is so cool. And this only happened 2 years ago. So this was her first Pride. But this woman has been incredibly supportive of you, which I think is like, you are multi-talented and really incredible. And you probably hear it from everybody. And all someone has to do is like look at all of these shows you've been in.
Well, but I believe being in these specific industries, it beats down on you and it gets hard sometimes. So to be able to hear that it won't get old to me because it knows that if I at least touch one person in my audience, I'm doing something right. I'm on the right lines of what I'm supposed to be doing. And so to hear those words, it's not like an ego boost for me. It's like you are doing exactly what you were called to do. Keep going. Yeah. Just keep going.
Keep on doing it. You did say something. I pulled it out of an interview that you weren't booking shows because you were not cis or masculine enough.
Yes.
Now, how the hell do you deal with that? Like, what is that?
Well, I think in part as well, it was me trying to be something that I'm not.
Right.
And the thing about being a good director and a good casting director is you can call bullshit when somebody else is calling bullshit on themselves.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I said, I'm not, I can play, I'm not meant to play sis, anything. I'm not meant to play straight, anything. I'm not. And those are roles that no longer serve me and who I am and the message that I'm trying to get across.
And I would like to say, what has that got to do with the price of eggs? Look at who you are, and look at anyone, what they're castable as. You're castable for so many things.
Like, I can play Michael in Tick, Tick, Boom. I love playing Michael in Tick, Tick, Boom. But don't ask me to play your leading man and if he's straight. I'm like, I couldn't fake this even if I wanted to.
Right. But again, why should you have to when you have so much dimension to you? You can do everything else. It took me a long time to realize I was not going to be everybody's cup of tea. And
I had to realize that too. It comes with age. It's something that comes with age because when I wasn't booking, I was trying to be palatable to everyone. And that's not going to serve you in the long run.
No,
and the moment that I realized you just need to go in here and be exactly who the hell you're supposed to be, everything started to fall into place. And the roles that I've been getting called in for reflect who I am as a person now and what I want to portray.
But isn't that funny? That is who you are now. I mean, you talked about you were cut from a potential Broadway musical, and like, how does one become resilient to that? That's a big slap. You know, how did you deal with that?
It wasn't easy, but
no, not easy. No one's saying that it should be. But look at you. How did you? You know, what was your process?
Well, what's funny is when I had the meeting with the producer, I already knew what this meeting was going to be about, so I mentally prepared myself. And when they told me, they were the ones crying. And I go, why are you crying? I'm the one who gave up 3 contracts.
Right.
Because you told me to, and I still didn't get it. But I walked out of that meeting that day. I wasn't crying. I wasn't in disbelief. I was actually laughing.
Wow.
I was laughing. And that's not normal for me. I thought I would be broken. I was laughing. And then the reality set in that I've been screwed.
Yeah. It's definitely a screw you. Where did you put your anger at that? I would have left there enraged.
So it locked in that I was like, you've been screwed over. So I got pissed off and I was angry and bitter about it for a while. And the best thing that I can do is, well, you can handle it one of 2 ways. You can spiral and let it affect you in a negative way, or you can feed it into your art. I fed it into my art. Right. And so curtains up, we were about to do our production of Dreamgirls. And I play Effie in that show.
How brilliant.
And we know what happens to Effie. She is with the group for all these years. And then when the big time comes, they drop her. So the story hit me hard. By the time that we got to And I'm Telling You, which I sing live in my show, I was screaming, I was crying, the bar was silent by the time I finished the song. Wow. Tears were streaming down my face. Half my lash was off.
But it was real. It was real.
And it was therapeutic.
Right.
It was therapeutic. And so much so to the point where, obviously, we know that's the end of Act 1. So we finished the number, and I go backstage, and one of the actors comes backstage and goes, "Are you all right?" Are you okay? And I just sat there and I'm like, I'm good.
Wow.
And I needed that moment to let go of what I thought I deserved and realize that, that's not where you needed to be.
Yeah.
It's not where you needed to be. It's not, you weren't meant to play this specific role. You weren't meant to be in the ensemble. You weren't meant to sing 32 bars in a show. Granted, the 7 years prior to that, I was one of the only good reviews that was coming.
Unbelievable.
From those little 32 bars. And I was getting reviews with Tony-nominated actresses.
And there was your name.
And right along with them. But the things that they also put me through in that show, one of the production members said I was too fat to play the role that I was playing.
I'm just completely horrified.
And it was, I was in my 20s. So I was like,
oh,
I was willing to do whatever it took.
Right.
To make it happen. And it didn't happen. But as soon as I had that breakthrough moment and that therapeutic moment at my show, the 3 contracts that I lost, I gained 3 other contracts. That's when I did Tick, Tick, Boom as Michael, Black and Queer. I am originating, not originated because we're still working on the show. I originated a role of a character named Francesca, Black, trans, femme character in a musical about whacking in the 1970s, disco, something I love.
Right.
Something I love. I got cast in a trans femme role as Fatiman in this show by my friend by my friend Jamie, called Francois and the Rebels, about the Haitian Revolution of 1792.
Oh my
God!
Black
rock musical, and I play Fatiman, trans film presenting, mistress of ceremonies, a lead.
Incredible.
And it was at that moment I realized you are right where you're supposed to be. That was not meant for you.
Right.
You were meant to be here.
But when it's happening, we don't know that. Okay. We don't know that. And this is a valuable lesson. And what you're sharing here is very valuable. And I want people to hear this.
It's also a test. It's very much a test.
Absolutely a test.
Because, if had this have happened to me in my 20s, I would have spiraled. I would have.
Of course you would have.
I would have absolutely spiraled. But there's something about hitting those 30s, those mid 30s.
Yeah.
Where you realize you have the power and you have the control. And 9 times out of 10, anytime I've ever had a situation that wasn't as hard or nasty as that specific situation, I never handled it correctly. And so that was like God's way of going, or the universe's way of going, she's not ready. She's not ready.
Right.
So then when it happened this last time, and everybody saw how I handled it, I was like, it is what it is.
You're living proof, right?
Universe literally said, she's ready, give it to her. Go.
Right.
And
because you were ready to take it and run with it and accept it. Tell me about Curtains Up.
After that whole thing happened, I said, I'm at Lincoln Center.
Yeah. How about that?
Femme, dancing at Lincoln's and singing at Lincoln Center.
Did your mom come up for that show?
She didn't get to come up for that one because she has a lot of health problems and everything, and it was really, really cold. Like it was in like January or February. So
forget it.
Her bones don't do well with
I like that her bones don't do well. But my God, you were at Lincoln Center, and that's after everything, and that's the lesson, which obviously you learned. I wanted to hear about Curtains Up because that's your baby. You formed that.
Yes, that's my baby. So it came about fresh out of quarantine. I was approached. One of my drag nieces, Nova Czar,
Oh, Novasar. Oh God. Okay, can we just have a moment here?
That's my niece.
I've been in a show, I think 2 shows in Jersey City, probably with Novasar. An amazing, beautiful talent, and does makeup. Oh, the makeup alone, just
aesthetics are astounding.
Astounding. Thank you. So no, I can't believe it. Of course, not surprised.
Yeah, that's my niece. So that's my drag niece. And she's like, so Dan and Louise, who are the managers at Monster, they have always wanted a musical theater drag show, but they wanted to be a production. She's like, I wanted to give your name, and I like, because she's like, the logistics of how to run a show and build a show,
of course.
And I'll just be a co-host with you. I said, okay. So we had this meeting with Dan, and I said, I was thinking of calling it Curtains Up. He's like, I love that. And then I explained to him the premise of the show. And he's like, okay, cool. Well, this is what we're going to do. Get your cast together, blah, 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 blah. I said, lovely, 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 lovely. And that opening night, it was packed.
Amazing.
I had about 6 other dancers. And people are like, this is a production show. This is a production show. I said, yeah. And then we started doing actual full production shows. Like we actually have 6 production shows under our belt that we rotate. So we do Chicago, we do Rocky Horror, we do Rent, Grease, Dreamgirls, and Wicked.
I mean, how long are these shows?
I condense them. It's a drag show, so we condense them down to an hour and a half, 2 hours.
That's great. It's like somebody can hire you for this whole I love that you're talking about this, because they can hire you for this whole package.
And I do a once a month residency during the summer on Fire Island at the Ice
Fire Island, right? Right. It's so great. I think it's really brilliant, and it's using all of your talents. And the cast, I'm sure your cast is very diverse.
Yes. You never know who's going to show up. I have a lot of guests. A lot of my friends are, Broadway people, and I have them come in and guest if they're in between contracts or they need a little extra. I actually created this show as a safe space for actors and singers to be able to perform and grow their craft. And if they're in between gigs, come and get a little extra money,
great, yeah,
and keep their skills sharp. And it's done just that. It's gone above and beyond, more than what I could have ever imagined.
Incredible.
I have met people that I look up to in this industry. To this day, my favorite person that I've ever met during my show is George Faison, who was the choreographer of the original Wiz.
Stop. Oh my gosh. Look at the opportunities that you've had.
I couldn't have asked for a bigger blessing. My mom goes, your gifts will make room for you.
I love that. Right.
And they have in the best ways possible.
Yeah. And you are using your gifts, which is the perfect segue. I want to show your video that you sent me. I loved it.
Yes.
So we're gonna take a look at that now. Okay, Juan, take it away.
So let's find a bar so dark we forget. wish or dream, and that dream's just about to come true. Life's not as bad as it may seem if you open your eyes to what's in front of you. Good dreams. Show you around, baby, play you a sound. Oh, pretty groovy, yeah. Or if you want something visual that's not too abysmal, we can take it a good old Tyler Perry movie. Whenever I'm with him, something inside starts to burn in, and I'm filled with desire. Could it be the devil in me, or is this the way love's supposed to be? It's like for the sun to rise, for the tree to dry. And be crowd here is our strange and thee
Wow. You are just totally hireable from that. If you send that thing out, it's so easy to, you know how I'm saying they never know what they're looking at. You could hire you directly from that sizzle reel. It's really great. And I know it's a smidgen of what you've done, but each character you've played, from the sensibility to the voice, to the movement, to the costuming, they're totally incomplete. And there's so many roles that you can play.
Like I just, in that reel, I just wanted to show versatility.
Well,
like,
you did. Yeah. So it says I'm totally hireable for your show. You're very Broadway. I mean, you know, I want to go to Broadway. Not that I go often, unless I get discount tickets. But, you know, you are definitely, you're so castable. And I think that's what I love when I find someone that can like do it all. You know, that's really a gift, not to be taken for granted. You know, and it's amazing. Amen. Amen. Now, did you do a lot of the costuming?
Every single one of those costumes I wore, I made.
Yeah, I figured it. I mean, why be in anyone else's production? You just need to like work on getting, you know, financial backers and angels to launch your whole thing, because you got it all going on. You really don't need anybody else.
I was like, that's literally always been the thing. I said, if I just need to start doing donation-based things for these productions, because a lot of times I just come out of pocket, which sometimes gets hard, but I do it because I love it.
Right.
And
that can get hard. You know, I've a lot of people that do that. And I do that as well.
Jennifer Lopez lied when she said love don't cost a thing, because these are some of the most expensive costumes I have ever
costumes are
had to pay for.
Now, do you do costuming for other drag artists?
I do. I take commissions from a lot of people. People hit me up. They're like, oh my God, I love that outfit. I said, thanks, I made it. And so they just follow me on Instagram, and then we set up time to, As a matter of fact, I have somebody dropping off fabric today.
It'll happen while we're on air. We'll just put them on camera. I love it.
But yeah, I'm constantly making things for other people when I have the time.
Of course.
But it's just you in New York City, you just got to have a grinder's mentality.
You know what? Right, Grinder. We don't mean the dating site.
No.
No, I know. Somebody I met for lunch the other day said to me, you got to slow down. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me?
Why?
I work so hard to make everything, and I mean everything, because as you know, we got to keep throwing it against the wall,
Until something sticks.
and something will stick, but it's like no one is going to come along and hand you that perfect little thing on the silver platter. And if you have talent, you constantly have to be out there working it, making it happen. I mean, you have a lot of responsibility. You do your Curtains Up show, you do everyone else's show, okay? And then you're doing costumes for yourself, for everyone else. Where do you find time to bake?
Well, the best part about owning a baking business is that you can do it when you feel like it.
Right.
And my rule always is I need 48 hours in advance for an order. So
that's smart. Right.
That 48 hours gives me a chance to move my schedule around. If I have a show that day or something, I go, oh, got it. Cool. I can go ahead, bake them here, and then decorate it tomorrow or do whatever. So it all works out in my favor. And if I can't do it, then I can't do it, but I'll send them in a direction to somebody who I know can.
You will refer them to someone. Now, when did you find out you had a gift for baking?
Oh, I've known that since my grandmother when I was a kid. She's the one who taught me how to bake. So it's always been instinctually in me. Yeah, it's always been instinctually in me.
Yeah, you could just do it.
To bake.
Wow.
Don't ask my mother to do it. She's like, that's not a me thing.
Yeah.
Grandma.
Right, but I mean, this is a very lucrative thing. When did you start like incorporating that into? I love people that have a lot of dimension, and you know what? To do well now, you need to have a lot of dimension. When did you realize that you could start another business doing this?
It started shortly after quarantine when I realized you need to have another little side hustle of income because, at that point, drag was still kind of like this.
It was all on the internet. I was in people's shows. I never did this before, and I've got age on you, okay? You can imagine all of a sudden I'm working with Icovelli, all of these people on I'm going to say it, on a computer. None of this made any sense to me. They're like, when do you need a Venmo account? I'm like, why do I need a Venmo account? They're like, so people can tip you. And I'm like, well, why would they tip me? I'm not a drag artist. I tell funny stories or I write funny parodies. But
see, that's not a rule for me. That's never been, especially at Curtains Up. I have
all kinds of
Broadway stars. I have male Broadway stars come in, and I make sure the audience knows. Tip them. Because this is a free show. They get a base pay, but this is a free show.
Yeah, tip them. Tip your performers. Yeah, I didn't understand that. That I needed a Venmo account to do this online thing. And I'll tell you, I was so green at it when it would be my turn and, you hit the button and then all of a sudden it's you. I had a whole bottle of wine next to me. That was the only way I could do it. And honestly, Jada, to this day, it's still very, like this for me is like breathing. I can do this kind of thing, but that is still so weird to me. It's like, is anybody watching? Are they like seeing something weird? I just go all kinds of in my head paranoid. It's not a natural state. Whereas being on a stage is a totally natural thing. I'll never feel bad about that. It's just, you feed off of your audience, and you know that better than anyone. Have you ever been
like True Connection? There's nothing like True Connection with the live.
It is. It's a true connection. Have you ever been in a production where it just? I don't mean the show you ended up like parting ways with. I mean, just where you got a lot of shade from the other performers.
Yes. It was actually my first Broadway national tour.
Wow. What show is it?
How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
I love that.
You would think that people would be jolly during a Christmas show and be happy to actually be booked during a Christmas show.
Yeah.
But I have met some horrible, horrible human beings who treated me so horribly during that production.
And this was a tour.
This was a tour. It was like it was the first Broadway national tour as well.
That's huge. And you're right. It's Christmas, and it's like how the great what would like be someone?
It's like the standard bitter booze.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, now don't get it twisted. I was friends with the majority of the cast.
Yeah.
It was just like that one little clique of mean girls that I had to share a dressing room with.
Oh, that's a bummer. Yeah.
There's going to be some in it, but I will say this. I have not encountered that in years.
Right.
Because everybody that I work with now is grown.
Yeah.
And they know that I don't take too kindly to nastiness. Because because I'm a smiley person. I enjoy people. I enjoy love.
That's very, very obvious.
But don't piss me off.
Right.
Because I am nasty.
Yeah.
When I get angry. And my mouth is slick. I know how to hold
girl, I could tell that the minute I met you. I'm like, ooh.
Just stay on
the dressing table next to me. I'm like, oh, I want this one on my show. There's stuff going on with Jada.
Oh yes, honey. I'm like, look, I love it, but please find you something safe to do because I'm not in.
Yeah, well, and you're a pro. You are an absolute, and I'm sure if you're with people that just somebody walk in the door.
Yes,
hi.
Gabe.
Yes, you can come on camera. Come sit and talk with us. Who do we have here?
Hi. This is Gabe.
Hi, Gabe.
I'm making some boot covers for him. The grind never stops.
The boot covers for Gabe. Gabe is easy on the eyes too.
Yeah.
Wow. You. Gabe, what do you do?
I'm also a choreographer dancer.
I love it. This is like my lucky night. Do we have anyone else coming in the door? I think I can put 6 people at a time on street.
What is going on?
It's something like that. Well, so you're making boot covers for Gabe.
Yes.
There's an award show on Monday night, and I don't want to buy brand new boots for one night. So.
Right.
I know Jada makes boot covers very well. So I called her up. I was like, I need boot covers by Monday.
So what's happening Monday night for you?
It's the Glam Awards.
Right. And I'm going to be there because I'm up for a Glam Award.
Oh, word. I won't be there because I have an audition.
You have an audition, but you got my wheels turning, Gabe. How quick can you knock out boot covers, Jada?
If I have the pattern, it takes me less than 3 hours.
Less than 3 hours. Could you make something silver?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I will talk after the show. Yeah, because it ain't in the budget to buy those silver boots that'll go with my borrowed dress.
Oh, honey, I stopped buying different colors of boots a long time ago. I will just go straight to the fabric store, buy whatever fabric I want to, make sure it's stretch, measure whatever boot I want to put it over, cover it, and call it a day. So
how does this work? I have to bring you my boots?
Yes, you have to bring me the boots and then bring me the fabric that you want me to.
Okay, so now I'm down to the wire too. Right. I forgot the Glam Awards is Monday already. Oh my God. Now I'm under pressure. I am so glad Gabe walked in when he did.
I was like, they is talking over there, but do your thing.
You're fabulous. Yeah, we're on our last leg here because we're down to 5 minutes. And I do want to talk about when you realized you had the 2 spirits in you.
I did. I love you.
Bye. Nice to meet you.
Bye, Dave. I'll see you Monday night.
See you Monday night. I'll find you.
I was actually doing a reading of a new show called Righteous Crisis Dionysus. And I played Dionysus in the show.
Wow.
And in Greek mythology, Dionysus is neither male nor female.
Right.
And something connected in me that day. And I ran into another trans friend of mine who was also Two-Spirit and very Native American. And we had a discussion about it. And I said, oh, this is me. Oh! And it just kind of clicked after that. And I said, it just all made sense. It had me tap into my Native American side as well.
Well, I was going to tell you, so of course I know a lot of Two-Spirited people, and I know the history of Two-Spirited, and a wonderful thing that it happened from your Native American friend, because I'm sure it made you understand a lot of things about yourself. And Two-Spirit, by the way, in accepted. It's just like a totally normal state and totally accepted.
I'm from the Chippewa tribe, and it's a completely normal thing in these different tribes.
Right.
As a matter of fact, they were held as chiefs and leaders in the community.
Yes. Right.
And I said, that's what my ancestors did is no different from what I'm doing now.
Right.
I am, in fact, a chief and a leader in my own community.
Yeah, I was going to say that to you. That is exactly right. Look at what you're doing.
Sense.
Right. You are really living your truth out loud here. Do you know Raven O? Raven O.
Yes, I love Raven O.
Two-Spirited, also Hawaiian. Whole background is Hawaiian, native Hawaiian, same thing. Yeah, there's a ton of people there, and we really have to let that be known that it's just a regular state for people to be in. And you're right, they're leaders. They're really great what they can contribute to society as when
people listen.
Well, yeah, but that's what you and I have to do. So we have to present everything in such a way through our art that we get people to listen, because as I'm sure you have come to the revelation where we are now, as we all have, right? That nobody was listening on either end, and it's really a big mess now.
And I told people in my audience, I said, look, we got 4 years. My suggestion to you, find those little pockets of joy. Find them.
Right.
Find your community and support yourself. Support each other.
Exactly. And you know what? That's there. And it's about community. It's about grassroots. And it's about a groundswell from within. And we all have the ability to do that, No shrinking
all
wall
of this
power here.
Until somebody decided to monetize off of it.
Right.
We're going to get back to that.
Right. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. So where are you coming up next? Where can people see you?
Well, tomorrow I'm at Queen and Industry, every Tuesday night at the Monster. And then whatever random gigs pop up in my inbox that people want to hire me for.
I know, but you seem to have a lot of gigs pop up all over the place. I'm like, oh my God, I know that show. I know that show. I know that show. You're definitely out there. And your show that you do at the Monster, when is that?
It's every Tuesday night. Doors open at 9. Show starts at 9:30. Not drag time.
Right. Oh no, we're not gonna mess around with drag time with you. I would be afraid to walk in the door. You would make an example out of me. That's all I would know. So before I go, I always get a picture of my guest. So I love taking these pictures here. Say cheese.
Cheese.
Good. That's a nice, gorgeous posing and everything. Thank you so much, Jada. I can't wait to come to your show at the Monster. Tuesday nights are often good for me. Really
thank you for having me.
Oh my God, I support all my friends. And if there's, anything I can do for you to get the word out anyway with what you're doing, I totally will. I really admire your talent and who you are as a performer. And again, we're all out there. We need to use our voices, use who we are, use to create. Thank you so much.
Make me loud.
Right. Exactly. Thank you so much for being here. Thank your mama for having you. You tell her I said that.
I will.
Get that. And thank you, everybody who tuned in tonight. We'll be back next week. See you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.